I feel like this is personal experience for Lester. He's walked to multiple people and been like, man, I got into this fight today on the internet. I was so right. And that guy was just like, you wrong. And he's like, oh shit.
I think I've been the guy that's been like the one that got talked about. Cause I go like, if I'm gonna do it, that's why I don't do it a lot. Cause when I do it, I'm really like, I got time. Let's go. I ain't doing nothing.
See, at least you enjoy it. I do not enjoy it, so I need to not do it because it doesn't even bring me joy to argue with people on the internet at all. It just brings me stress.
It can, yeah, especially especially COVID. That COVID shit was like, man, I didn't know people were stupid. Like you knew people was dumb, but you just really didn't know how dumb
it really
people
brought
could
it to
be.
the forefront.
Because
Really
now we
showed.
got monkeypox, and I'm really interested to see how we pretend that's not real.
Yeah,
I mean, like it's on your skin, so it's hard to ignore it as much as like
They're gonna call it pimples or something.
I know. Yeah,
My acne been fucking up.
Got a
They
rash
not gonna
from
call it
something.
max. They not. All right, here's the question on the record. Vaccine for monkeypox. Y'all gonna get it?
I mean, if I could, if
Probably.
it's offered.
Okay.
If
I got the
it's-
other vaccine and the second one in the booster. So if I can help other people not get sick and die, I'm gonna do that.
I think this time is gonna be about you getting sick and dying.
I'm against that too.
I have not. I've not.
I
looked into it
haven't.
much.
No.
You know,
I
and
got-
I want to see it.
I got too honestly burnt out from the COVID news and being so inundated with news and being like trying to be on top of it, trying to stay like knowledgeable about what was going on. That nowadays I've checked out in a little bit of that and been like, I'm gonna live in my bubble. I'm gonna make my art. I'm gonna see what happens. And if something pressing happens, I'm sure I'll figure it
Go
out.
get a
at some
vaccine,
point.
yeah. But
Like,
Yeah,
if they tell me to wear
ignored it.
masks, I wear masks. But like I try not to read too much at this point if there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, I mean, I ignored it, and then a coworker showed me, and I was like, "Son, I do not want that. Like, I'll take coughing over that." It's crazy. It's the stuff that's internal. Like, all right, you got a cold that really doesn't affect anything. I mean, it can, but like in all this exterior stuff, it's like, nah, I don't want that, man. I'm already trying to get my skin right. Why I want this?
dude, I really do think that like you made one of the best COVID films I've seen. Like
Thank you.
honestly,
I don't know what to say with that. It
just
was
take
first.
the compliment.
No, I said thank you.
Yeah,
I said thank you. It's okay. Hold on, let's start. Y'all ready?
yeah.
Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to the all new Midnight Movie Club. Okay, we got a married couple here. Y'all married?
Yeah. 7 years as of Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking for. Okay, y'all got the different ring type. 7 years?
Yeah.
7 years.
Okay, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
If we make it to Monday.
Yeah, if we don't make it to Monday, then no.
Okay. Well, first thing
We'll
about
see.
the Midnight Movie Club is all spoilers. If you hear a movie get brought up, just know we probably gonna spoil it. I don't want to have to say spoiler alert. You can follow on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, some other shit. Arrowfilms, AROWE films or arrowfilms.com. Okay, here we go. Now, got that thing done. So you was complimenting me about my film.
I
Yes.
was, yeah.
So I'm gonna take that compliment. But no, to making that, I think what's hard now about the stay home film is like I made it so early that if you see it today, I don't know if it ends up being a part of the noise of once people start to make their own home and COVID film versus when I made it, because I made it in April. I shot it in April 2020.
Yeah.
And that was right when stuff was shut down. That's how it happened. And now I look at it and it's like archival because nothing about COVID has changed in terms of the information and how people get it, how it spreads,
Yeah.
or there's that was the information and it's still the same information now. You know, how we treat it, all that stuff 2 years later is different, but it's the same. So it's always interesting to me when I see new stuff that's COVID related, or I see people still trying to make those things like, damn, am I noise now? I get fear. My biggest fear with that is that it was so current and topical that it becomes dated.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I
I
mean-
hope the story is good enough inside of it that it doesn't, but I hope it's good enough.
I think it'll always be impactful. It is an interesting thing because you don't think that a film that you made in 2020 in a topical current moment is technically at this point a period piece. It's a
Damn.
piece that takes place in a certain
very
time and
specific.
period in a specific time of the world. Like
True.
it's a piece of history in how people were experiencing that moment in time. And that's interesting because like you'll watch a movie like Lincoln by Spielberg and like that's a period piece. You know what I mean? Like it's obviously a period piece because it was made present day for about 200 years ago and it shows that date and time. But so does your film. Your film shows a date and time. It couldn't take place any other time
Right.
except that date and time.
Right. Damn. You know, I'm a genius like that. It's kind of crazy. Hold on. Let me do the genius thing. Well, you know, you got to cross your leg like that. And,
And we should not laugh after you say it. Probably would help.
yeah, let's try it again.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, take two.
We'll take two.
Well, you know, I'm a genius like that.
And we're honored to be in your presence.
You know?
Yes, yeah. Expound upon that, please.
Well, so when I was a kid, I was told 2 wrongs can make a right.
Wow. And that sets you on this whole course
Well, no.
to this
Actually, what
moment.
it was, my sister, I remember we was little, and I wanted Frosted Flakes. Okay. And
This feels like it's going to be a long story.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Buckle in.
And Frosted Flakes comes with sugar in it. And I told her, I want to add a cup of sugar myself. She said no. I hit her.
Oh my God.
Now we're here.
Okay.
Jesus.
Did you get to add the sugar?
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
you know what I'll say? I'll say that I think this is like a pro tip is that I think cornflakes with sugar on them is better than Frosted Flakes.
Mm.
Like I think the adding
You think
your
sugaring
own,
it yourself
Doing
is
your own
better
sugar.
than the pre-sugared?
100% because then you get like this sugar milk situation that you can't get any other way. But I think that you've taken it a step further.
Yeah.
And sugaring
To
the
sugar
sugared
it.
cereal.
Yeah.
You know, I add sugar to fuck. I can't think of a goddamn thing. We're done. We're out. What is it called? What is the Hawaiian punch? That's what I was gonna say. I don't do that, but I just wanted to double down on the
On
sweetness.
something sugary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like adding
You
cinnamon.
add sugar to your sugar.
I add cinnamon to yes. Yep.
Your cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Powdered
To my-
milk to your milk.
Well, that's a little far. Now you're just dusting things up. So, introduce yourselves. We haven't done this.
Oh.
Okay.
Straight from Kansas City.
Kansas. Yeah.
Kansas City, Kansas or Missouri.
We're
Kansas.
Kansas.
Kansas City, Kansas.
I'm Patrick Poe.
I'm Lolo Loren.
We make movies.
Yeah, we do.
We're IX Film Productions.
Mm-hmm.
We've been making films together since before we were a couple.
Yeah.
We do a podcast together called First Timers Movie Club. We have our own movie club, Lester.
Yeah.
When I invited you, I said, God damn, I hope they don't think I'm stealing.
No, that's okay. You can have your own
We
club.
could each have our own clubs. We
Yeah.
could have
We're
events where the two clubs get together and have
Yeah.
a big club party.
This is a club gathering
Yeah.
of clubs.
Yeah.
Some would call it a clubhouse.
Oh.
Yeah, sure.
Is that taken?
No.
Clubhouse, let's trademark it.
Okay.
We can make it an app where people talk to each other, but continue.
Yeah. I would continue. Oh man, we make comedy films
We do make comedy.
pretty much exclusively.
Yep.
We've made a bunch of feature films. We've made too many short films.
Yeah.
And right now, I guess we're in the Wichita area
We are.
screening our film Almost Sorta Maybe at the Tallgrass Film Center. Is that what it's?
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
I called
yeah.
the right thing. Good.
Yeah.
Proud of
Good,
you.
good.
Proud of you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did I do it? Did I
Is that an
introduce
intro?
us?
That's the introduction. Comedian.
Yeah, I do stand-up
Mm-hmm.
comedy. I act as well. Sometimes I act in our stuff, and then other times I act in other people's stuff. And
Whoa.
that confuses people,
It does.
which is a weird thing to me because, like,
It does.
I'm an actor, but then when they see me, like, because for our stuff I do like goofy jokes and stuff.
We only
usually.
do goofy jokes, really.
Yeah, and then people will see me something dramatic and they'll be like, "Wow, I didn't know you did that." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I studied acting in college. Like it's
You just like to do dumb jokes, but that is also acting.
yeah."
What do you prefer?
I really enjoy both, I'll be honest. I like writing comedy and I like making comedy ourselves, but I do love it when I get cast in someone else's drama.
Get to go
then
do
I
something
get to
different.
go I get to go play for
Yeah.
honestly it's like playing for a day. It's like doing something a little like different. I don't do it all the time. I get to practice that muscle, flex the muscle of memorizing other people's words and really like embodying a new character. So I love them both for different reasons, which is the most political answer I could give in a either or answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Still didn't answer the question. Which one, if you had to pick one to do for the rest of your life?
I probably do comedy because I really enjoy bringing joy to people. And like that's why I make comedy films, is because I like having people laugh. I like that enjoyment. I think that film can be enjoyable and should be enjoyable, and you can still have important lessons and messages and emotions within that enjoyment, if that makes sense.
Sure. I'm going with that. I'm gonna ask a series of hard questions, I hope.
Okay.
Okay. So between the both of you, who would be like the lead artist? Who fronts the band?
Nope.
Yeah, I
We
don't think
really don't. I know people don't believe us when we say that, but like,
I think that we both serve our own purposes creatively to make the best project.
and it can vary project to project or day to day who has the most energy that day
Yeah,
to
and
run
like
point.
different things can be like sometimes I'll take more of a backseat for like, oh, you have a clear vision for this exact moment for this exact thing, or then the next time I'll be like, no, I know exactly what it's this in my head, and we'll do it.
And I mean, you
that
can you
way,
can break
or-
it down to little stuff. Like he likes After Effects a lot better than I do, and I like the initial rough cut a lot better than he does. But that doesn't mean I always do the rough cut. You know,
Would you? So both of you guys edit as well?
we
Yeah.
both do everything in film related
Yeah,
capacity.
we can do
We can do everything.
everything. There are some things I would like to do less, and there's some things I'd like to do more often focused. But
I'd like to outsource everything sound related for the rest of my life if I could
Yeah.
afford it.
I would love to hire a sound
But
mixer
I
for
can do
every
it.
project, both on set and in post.
So I'll ask this of both of you then. What has been the thing that is going out this way that you don't like how it went, but you settled for it because you lost the debate of?
I have an answer if you don't.
Oh, okay.
I mean, what I would say to that is that like early on, we were still learning how to collaborate and
Mhm.
learning how the two of us worked.
That was a big learning process.
as a creative team.
Yeah.
And so, like, one of our early features is mostly Lolo's film. And I definitely had some ideas during that process that I think could have made it a better film. And then quickly after that, I was like, oh, I need to make my own film. I need to do my things to prove that I'm a filmmaker too. It's not just Lolo. And it suffered a lot from me not taking advice from Lolo. And like, we learned through a couple of things not going exactly how we wanted to, being like, oh, we make the best films when we work together.
Yeah, well, because like the first one, the things you wanted to change, in retrospect, he was right. And I think definitely on the film that was more yours, like I think it definitely would have been better if you listened to me. So yeah, I think it did just come around to us both realizing, oh, like we both need to be able to take feedback and critique and like debate it out until we
Till we
do
both like it.
realize what is best. And sometimes that's a third option.
That was the thing that we talked about last night, even at the Tallgrass screening, was somebody asked about like how we work together. And we were talking about a thing that does happen is that like in film, sometimes you have to kill your darlings. Sometimes you have to kill the thing that like you thought was great when you wrote it, but it needs to die. But sometimes working in a duo, you don't know what's that other person's
You
darling.
kill each other's darlings.
So like you you'll read a script and you'll be like, oh, I don't love that line. I don't really like how that's worded or that like half plot point. But the whole thing I still enjoy enough that I can live with that. And then sometimes we'll get to set or we'll get to be on the way to set, or for almost sort of maybe we even gotten to the edit, and like because we waited
like,
COVID to release it, there was a moment that I was like, hey Lolo, I've never liked that line. And Lolo was like, oh my God, I've never liked that line either. And we're like, oh shit, we should have talked about this 2 years ago before we filmed it. That would have been great.
Yeah.
But you never know what's the other person's darling until you talk it out. And so we need to improve our communications still.
That's interesting to me because as a couple, you would think that what you guys have to do I assume, to sustain a healthy relationship would be the same thing you would have to do as filmmakers to make sure that this works. So kind of holding back, like, she's going to be mad if I tell her this sucks.
I mean, I would say that like the filmmaking is one of the biggest things that we would ever fight
It's like
about.
the only thing
because
we
care
fight
it the
about.
most.
It's
the most important thing.
More than each other.
100%.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we worked together well before we started dating. Like we became a creative partnership before we became a couple.
Was that not frightening that we could fuck all of this up? Oh, better yet, that any of the people that you work with in the collaborative space was concerned about you guys getting together and what it could do for the team?
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know about that. If they were, they didn't talk to me about it.
Yeah. It seemed like the people that were around us were like, oh, that's cute.
I think most of them were like, yeah, we saw that coming.
That
what
was
took you so
expected.
long?
Yeah. But I used to make a joke that it was a relationship of convenience because it started of us both in our separate homes working on these films together. And it would be like one person would come over to the house all the time to like work on writing, or the other person would come to the other house to
Edit
work
all
on
day.
writing. And then we like, I bought
Now we
a
have the same
computer,
house.
and we were taking a computer back and forth to edit and
Consolidate.
switch.
We were.
Oh, you've got like Wednesday to edit? Great. I'm busy all Wednesday. Here, I'll give you the
'Cause
computer.
we only had the one
And
computer.
then like I need it Thursday because I've got Thursday free. So there's a lot of transferring a computer back and forth. We're like, man, if we moved in
we had
together,
joint custody of a
all the
computer
gear-
already, so you know,
all the gear would be in the
it could
same
be in one
house.
No.
So
how long into the partnership did you guys decide, yeah, let's be a partner? Let's be partners.
we made the first feature film fully before we started dating. Or just about.
Oh no.
We worked together we'd done the 48
Yeah, we started. We
a
met at
couple
a 48
years prior
film competition, 48-hour film competition.
that we worked on together.
Pretty much is the easiest way to describe how we met.
Yeah, and then a couple years later we made the
started
feature.
a feature film.
So
and then
about a year of really working together as a partnership
Yeah.
before we did start dating. So not super, super long, but a lot of work in that time.
Yeah, there was a
period.
year of pre-production and
Mhm.
production of a feature, and then we started dating during the end phases of filming it and post-production,
Mhm.
because that's when we started writing Mr. Lee, and then
And
we
we
were
shot
fully
that.
a couple
Yeah.
by that point.
You both write.
Mhm.
Yes.
Has your real life seeped into your scripts? As in, like, you may have been writing something thinking about Patrick without necessarily telling him that it's about him.
Not
I don't think so.
really.
I think that our real lives obviously seep into our scripts in the fact that, like, in Almost Sorta Maybe, Liz is a character that I don't think people would associate with me or Lolo, but her insecurities are me and Lolo's.
Yeah.
Like, those are the things that we worry in social situations. We say sorry too much. Like, I've got
Now,
my own food.
Is these
things.
insecurities something that you guys already knew about, or did the script bring these out that you're like, I didn't know that was a problem?
Oh no, we know each other's insecurities pretty well at this
Yeah.
point.
Damn. I'll just put it all out there.
Yeah.
This could be a therapy session if y'all need it to be.
No,
I
I'm good.
feel like you guys have been waiting to get some of this off.
No, this is all stuff that we know about each other.
Yeah.
no, let's just.
But
you
if it needs
say
to be a
that-
therapy
if you
session
want
for
to feel
you,
like a
we're here
therapist,
for you.
if that's what you think that, like,
Okay, so you made a romantic comedy.
Mhm.
Are you fans of romantic comedy? What is like that romantic comedy that was like, you know what? I'm kind of making something in the vein of this.
oh hell yeah, I love rom-coms. like for real, I love rom-coms. I love sitcoms.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. Also, I see the flaws that exist within the genre inherently, and in some of the tropes, and in the fact that like there's 30 years of time where like one of the main rom-com creators was Woody Allen. That's just like inherently problematic. And like the voice of
Because of Woody Allen or the stories he was making?
a little both, because the stories here he's making is generally an older Woody Allen with a much younger woman, and it shows which like
Is most of Hollywood. Though.
it's a lot of it's the trope.
But it's real life in ways. I mean, we could go to 10 expensive high-end banquets and you'd probably see an older man with a younger
And
woman.
that's the problem with most of America. That is reflected in Hollywood. Still a problem.
Okay. So Woody Allen, is it the movie or is it the person? If it's reflecting what's real, it's kind of hard to say that something is or isn't a problem if this is what real.
I think
Just because something's real doesn't mean it's a problem.
Not saying it's not a problem.
The lack of there being a female perspective and just a more inclusive perspective in rom-coms, I think, is part of the problem. In that rom-coms have been told by older white men for generations, and it's a funny thing for me to say as a person that will become an older white male. I understand that.
But you're self-aware, so maybe you won't get too bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think the interesting thing about that statement, though, is, and Lola, you could chime in on this, is, I mean, if you were to follow 100 women on social media, let's say, and let's assume that social media is a loud consciousness of what people feel inside because they won't say it in public or whatever. If many women kind of like sitting in that submissive, I hate to say lower tier, but this rescue aspect where a lot of rom-coms will do, where the woman is giving up and then this guy throws everything at her to get her back, or it's like you said, it's predominantly in that male POV, or where the male is
if I chase her enough, she will give up and marry me.
And then you could watch a thing. I could scroll. I could open Instagram right now, and those are the top memes that a woman would post about wanting a man that is this way, that way, this way, that way, and that usually is this superhero.
I think
type of
obviously everyone wants a person that wants them. I think that's inherent, but I don't think that like.
That's different than making films that romanticize harassment.
Yeah. If you watch a lot of rom-coms, it's a man slowly wearing a woman down. It's not this woman that wants to be with this man.
Which is
and
encouraging
this man that wants to be with this
society
woman,
to not listen to no.
and they make each other better. It should be about two people that make each other better.
I think that's interesting what you said about harassment, because in ways I could look at that and totally agree. And then I could see something that a woman would post that would say something about, well, if he gave up, he didn't like you enough, or whatever it is. It's like, in ways, if she likes you, it's okay to kind of keep going forward as she plays coy. But if she doesn't like you, it's that very fine line of like harassment and overstepping the boundary. And many of the movies in rom-com and even situational comedies is that thing. Keep pursuing until
I mean, I think everything shades of gray.
There's
no black and white.
It also though it's one of those things where I think if you made a rom-com where the plot was this guy who was really persistent but a good guy and cute and eventually won over the woman, that would be fine if we didn't live in a world where women fear harassment and assault every day, and it is such a prevalent problem. Like if that wasn't a problem that existed in the world, and then somebody made a movie, like it doesn't have the same impact.
Good guy?
I think so. I hope.
I don't know.
I feel like I was persistent in pursuing you.
Well,
But
I'm gonna let it sit because I think if you saying if we define however we define harassment, whatever it is, if your qualifiers just in this statement at least was if he was a cute good guy, but if you don't want to be harassed, I think you get further away from being a good. You become a person who doesn't listen to signs, and read signals, and all these things. But if I wear down enough and I'm cute and I'm still a good guy, then
well, but
where's
so
the
no,
line?
because that line is if you're a good guy. If it's getting to a line of harassment, if it's getting to a line where that person's uncomfortable by you contacting them, then you're not a good guy anymore. Because that's the thing is that like you need
being able to recognize that.
You need to be able to recognize when I've overstepped my bounds. I have reached out to you too many times. I've not given you the space you need as a human being to be your own person. That's where it becomes harassment, I think. Where it's like I'm consistently sending you unwanted messages. And you're inherently not a good guy if we're just like doing this blanket term good guy when you're doing that.
It also is hard because like we've reached a place where like people can, criticize women for leading someone on or like not being clear enough in saying they're not interested or no or whatever. But unfortunately, we're at a point in society where we've been taught it's not safe to say no in a lot of scenarios. It's not safe to brush a guy off too blatantly, frequently. So like.
Also, I just want to kind of piggyback on what Lolo was saying about like if women were safer just inherently and if like there was that movie that existed where it's the guy chasing the woman and then eventually like, oh, he's like this good guy that gets the girl in the end, whatever. I think that wouldn't be as much of a problem if there were also 7 other movies made by other people with other perspectives. As opposed to the continual...
There is no movie with the woman who persistently harasses the guy until he marries her.
Yeah, exactly. That movie doesn't exist. Or the movie where the girl...
If it does, I haven't seen it.
I don't know. I don't... Because I kind of feel like... I wonder how much of it is an extension of fairy tales, retelling of fairy tales to be more real, that could connect a lot better. One of my favorite is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and fucking Matthew McConaughey got on a motorcycle. He committed so many federal crimes to get this woman back, who was leaving him.
Yeah.
And it's, I just can't, in ways it feels like there can't be 7 different stories. It's really only going to be 2 stories that can be different perspectives, but all overcompassing is going to end up being the same story. Well, then you're just getting into
the Ken Kwapis film, He Said, She Said, which is directed by him and I think his wife. And it's 3 films, actually. And one is the male perspective, one is a female perspective, and the one's like a third telling of the story from all these different perspectives because the story is different for each person. Everyone's experiencing life in a different way. And so I think there are many stories because every single person has their own perspective.
Is no original story.
Yeah, there is no original story. There's every story is like 4 things.
Because when Lola says, or I guess both of you said it, but the woman overly pursuing the man, I can't think of many. I'm trying, and I feel like I have seen it. Because there's been a women's resurgence or renaissance or whatever the right line is of these female woman dominated films where they're leading, they're the ones with the big jokes, and the stories revolved around how they are existing in a certain story. So I know it has to be there. Movies like Girls Trip and all these type of stuff.
Girls
I know
Trip,
it's
Rough
there,
Night, anything directed by Paul Feig recently.
Yeah, mostly Paul Feig. But also not necessarily chasing rom-coms personally. I go to darker films. So when I'm looking for something, I'm looking at tropes of, I saw this movie called The Night House. It's a horror film. And I think midway through the film, I was like, I've never seen a distraught man like really got to make everything come together. Not like they are the fighter usually, and the woman in horror films like this are usually the ones having to decide between fight and flight.
Yeah.
The dude is like very early on a mission. We gotta survive.
Yeah, you don't
But
get to see the dude that's like crying in the closet.
There's crying.
But I will
Yeah.
happily be in that film for you. I'll cry in a closet for you any day, Lester. If that's what you want to make.
You know, I've been working on a film called Tears of a Closet.
Okay.
And you know, the big reveal is, stop me if you heard this, but he comes out of the closet. Things change for him at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds revolutionary.
Well,
Maybe a metaphor of some kind.
simile.
okay.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Something like a simile. So, but yeah, if you want to do that
Okay.
and it's okay with you,
I don't own him.
you got a ring kind of says it's a joint ownership.
No. Joint partnership. We don't own each
Partnership.
other.
Okay, there was a contract signed though. I don't know. So favorite rom-com.
I mean, I really like. Once again, no, I don't know if it's, but Forgetting Sarah Marshall is one of my like go-tos. I love Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I really do. It's a weird one though, but luckily it does break that trope a little bit because he goes to Hawaii on accident and he's not actually stalking her, but then once again it's a white dude stalking his ex-girlfriend.
Do we have any black ones? I don't know.
I just thought of one, just to jump back, that is a woman unreasonably harassing a man
What movie?
to the point that it is kind of like, okay, that's not okay, but I do really like it. It's What's Up, Doc with Barbara Streisand.
Oh man,
Classic.
And it's a great
My
movie,
mom
and
would
it is
watch
a
it.
very like not traditional rom-com
Yeah.
in a sense.
I've only seen it the one time. I need to rewatch What's Up, Doc.
Yeah.
Mostly just because I don't remember it.
But favorite, I don't know. I like a lot of movies. I tend to lean a little more just like comedy versus rom-com in my favorites probably. And I like a lot of movies, so I'll just go with a recent-ish one I liked a lot. Do you want me to wait for that? Do you care? Is that probably loud?
Nah.
Okay.
But if you got a buffer going, so it's working. It's working.
Now you've like prefaced
now we're like
the
just gonna
very
kind of
loud
meander through it.
motorcycle.
Okay, yeah. Was Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar?
Dude,
Haven't
great
seen this
comedy.
at all.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Where'd you see it?
We bought it on
we
Blu-ray.
bought it on Blu-ray, yeah.
Oh, on Blue recently.
Yeah.
Recent-ish,
That's right. I
yeah.
keep forgetting you guys got the whole movie club thing. The what's it called? The
First Timers Movie
watch-
Club.
First
time movie.
Club.
Yeah.
First Timers Movie Club.
Is that something y'all watch for that?
No.
No.
So First Timers Movie Club is pretty much it came out of being stuck in our home during a pandemic and not being able to go make movies.
Mhm.
The goal was let's learn as much shit as we can about making movies and get as good as we can by watching old movies.
Mhm.
So there's a million movies that I've seen that she hasn't seen and she's seen that I haven't seen.
Because there's a lot of movies.
Because there's 120 years
don't know
of
if you
cinema
know.
history.
There's been a lot made.
So the podcast is pretty much us showing each other famous cinematic classics
For the first time.
for the first time, and we discuss why they're classics. We then discuss like we watch the movie together. That's not on the podcast, but we watch it. Then we come back and we discuss like what makes it stand that test of time.
Share a lot of trivia.
We talk about trivia about the making of the film and all that.
Mhm.
But then we also do love watching new films like Barb and Star
Which is Kristen Wiig.
and her writing partner from Bridesmaids.
The two of them made it together.
Yeah.
Just like a couple years ago now.
Yeah, it came out right before the pandemic, probably.
20-ish, I think it came out.
Highly recommend it.
Was that straight to DVD action, or
It-
straight to VOD?
It was one of those things that like it
I
came
think
out
it
in theaters
was-
for like a minute. You know those movies that like if you
Yeah.
don't go see it,
If you
the
don't see it
day-
on Tuesday, you can't see it ever.
Definitely during the pandemic. It's like you could watch it there.
yeah,
Maybe.
Just watch it at home.
Or it might have been one that like didn't come to Kansas City, but got some other limited
Yeah.
release. I don't really know.
Okay,
And,
so
it was one that like once it hit theaters, it was in theaters for like 1 minute, and then immediately they're like, and we're putting it on Blu-ray because that's where it's going to do better. But I recommend it to people. It's
Mhm.
wild. It's amazing. It's
Mhm.
strange. I love it.
So I'm looking at the First Time Movies Club that you can watch or that you can listen to on Spotify,
Yeah, you can.
because you probably should be watching and listening to this on Spotify. But you can watch it everywhere you want to.
That's where I watched and listened to it, was on Spotify, if anyone cares. So if you want to be like me, watch and listen to this podcast on Spotify while you do your dishes.
A person who will eventually be an old white man telling rom-com stories. But I can digress.
And he is telling you what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And telling you what to do. So a lot of demands. But some of the movies you guys have watched on here for the first time. And when I say the first time, these are movies, these are shows from 2022. Movies from 2020. Episodes that they recorded in 2022 of movies that they saw in 2022. For the first time.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of us hadn't seen.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's to clarify that. Weird Science.
Yeah, so Lolo never
I
seen
had
it.
never seen it. So he had. He
that's
showed
a
it to
banger.
me.
But I'm going to give you guys one
Once
that's...
again, a somewhat problematic comedy.
Got to keep things in the space and time, though.
Yeah, and
Yes.
we do talk about that.
Oh,
but like
yeah.
you also have to... But that's why we like making the kind of comedies we like making.
But here's a major one. Here's a major one that I'm kind of taking issue with. And I hope...
Which one of us is about to get in trouble?
I hope that this was one that the other gave to the other and not neither one of you guys have seen this. On July 1st, you guys watched Toy Story, the original.
Oh, okay. So we both had seen Toy Story. We had a guest on for that one because occasionally we have guests.
Okay.
So we had a guest on who had not seen Toy Story. Don't worry. We both had seen Toy Story.
All right.
Can we stay friends?
Yes.
I like that Lester is calling this out, though, because we are hoping to at some point get someone on to do Star Wars. And Lester's a person that's never seen Star Wars.
Have you still not seen
No,
Star
fuck
Wars?
Star Wars.
Okay.
So who? Okay, let's go back to one because I think I'm gonna make it a theme to do this. As long as people are
to
annoyed
try to
by
shame
it.
us?
Not to shame it, but to just kind of troll.
Okay. I think that's the different word for the same thing.
I'm okay with it.
But okay, I mean, I'm fine either way. But
It's consensual trolling.
Consent
is what matters. So
2001, Space Odyssey.
I had never
Stanley
seen it.
Kubrick. You never saw it.
He had
never
never
seen
seen
it.
it. So I showed it to him. Mm-hmm.
When did you see it?
I saw it in probably my early teens and did not get it.
Because Stanley Kubrick is overrated.
I saw it at 29 and I still don't get
I
it.
still don't know if I fully got it seeing it again.
Then let's talk about it because I originally wanted to call my podcast Stanley Kubrick is overrated. And so 2001 isn't one of my, if I'm being honest, what I like from Stanley Kubrick, I love A Clockwork Orange. Have you guys watched it?
We have not seen
I have not
Clockwork
seen that
Orange.
one.
Okay, one for the list.
Okay.
Full Metal Jacket.
I love the PlayStation 1 game you made.
The first
Pretty
part.
solid.
And I do enjoy The Shining. It's a little slow at times, but I do think it's a good thriller. But 2001.
Yeah.
Kind of stupid, ain't it?
Well, okay,
I
so
like it a lot.
a couple thoughts on Kubrick. So we were doing a thing before we even started the podcast. I kind of got obsessed a few years ago with watching famous directors' filmographies in order to see them grow and to see the change of their style.
We did a lot of Spielberg through in order from the beginning.
We watched everything from like Duel. Actually, I think
I don't know how you do Spielberg.
What is that other one? It's not Sunset.
Not
Pony Express. Something Express.
I'm not gonna come up with
I'm
it.
never gonna come
It's
up with it
been
either.
a minute now.
Who made it?
Spielberg. It's one of his first movies.
No.
It's pre-Duel, which is a cool movie actually. If you want to check out Duel, it's about it's pretty much Jaws, except instead of a shark,
It's a truck.
A truck stalking a man.
Oh, with is it Chris Christopherson in that one?
I have
might be thinking
no
of
idea.
Keep talking. I'll look it up.
But so then we were gonna do Kubrick in order and decided to do a couple of them on the podcast since there are some.
So
we
for
hadn't seen.
Kubrick, we skipped Paths of Glory, we skipped The Killing, but we started at Spartacus, and I showed it to Lolo, and then we did. We skipped Lolita. We did.
I skipped Lolita,
Yeah,
but
I watched
seen
Lolita
it. I had
by
seen it
myself.
before. I didn't feel like rewatching it.
But then we watched Doctor Strange, 11 How I Learned to Love the Atomic Bomb, and then we did 2001: A Space Odyssey. We still need to do.
We need to keep going.
I want to keep going. I want to do Clockwork Orange. I want to do Shining because I haven't seen either of those.
I don't really want to do Shining.
I've seen Full Metal.
Okay, who you saw Clockwork?
No, neither of us have seen Clockwork.
Clockwork, and neither of us have seen The Shining. But I do think that Kubrick is a good director.
I
think he's a good filmmaker. Using the word director.
Yeah, I think that definitely he has some issues with the way he's
treats people.
People in the past.
So I don't know anything about this. Caitlin brought that up, and I kind of brushed over it because some things I do try to do, and I know
there's a whole story about him and Shelley Duvall and him kind of mentally breaking her on the set of The Shining, and it's kind of because he was obsessed with doing many takes. He liked doing a bunch of takes because he believed that if you weared the actor down, eventually
to the point of exhaustion and emotional breaking point,
you would wear down the ability to act, and you just have the ability to react.
He just wanted them to be actually emotionally broken,
which is
abusive.
I fear becoming that person. I do. I think about that sometimes. It's like, because I do get in a place where with my most recent film that we shot, like I am very big on trusting people. Like or I want to be that person at least, where I can say, you know what, like we went through everything, so you kind of know what I'm looking for.
You know what I'm trying to make. I've hired people better than me. Do your thing.
Basically, but then you watch it and you're like, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. And you feel so close to it. And then I try to make sure, like, at least, because I get very obsessive, like, the jokes aside and all the, like, bullshitting, when it's time for me to, like, really drill in, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, when I'm at work and things aren't going right, or the communication is broken down, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with everybody? Like, you don't know how to speak now? Like I get into this place, not in like, and I don't express it. That's kind of like in my mind.
Yeah.
Or I take it back to my office, and like the people who have nothing to do with it get to hear me yell about stuff. But I do feel that because in ways you can watch a person act, and when you're watching them act, it's like, no, I need you to not act.
Just
I need you to be. Yeah. Like, so
well, it's
that
like,
scares me sometimes.
I think there are two roads to that, though. And I think one is abusing your actors, and one is creating an environment they feel so safe in that they can fully relax and do their job. And so I think one of those is obviously better than the other.
True.
And both can elicit incredible performances.
I mean, like Mamet's whole thing, because like there's obviously like there's method acting, there's all sorts of types of acting, and there's all sorts of schools of acting, and there's different ways of getting different acting across. And I think that there are definitely safe ways and there are unsafe ways. And we've seen that there are unsafe ways by actors who do great performances and then end up either mentally distraught or end up killing themselves, or end up addicted to pills and end up killing themselves, or dying by suicide is the better way to say it, I guess, or accidentally dying. I don't know what the best way to say that is.
Things come to an end.
Yeah, their lives end because of the things they're putting themselves through emotionally. And then there are other actors we've seen amazing emotional performances from that's not what's happening to them. Therefore, there must be a better way to do, a safer way to do it.
And I think
that's really better.
I think kind of what you're saying, there's nothing wrong with like being a perfectionist and wanting to make sure that the thing you're making gets to where you want it to get and how it is in your head.
Yeah, because I mean,
but I think as long as you're creating an environment where like your actors feel safe and comfortable, and if you don't get there, you're like, okay, we'll revisit this tomorrow instead of just like driving them until they die. Like there's nothing wrong with like continuing to work with someone to get it where you want it, though.
Perfectionistic, and we're both really hard workers, and I get what you're saying, because like that's why we connected so well, is because we were both working so hard on like a 48-hour competition, and we were like, oh, you're the only one that cares near as much as I do.
You're the only other person mentally unstable here.
Yeah, you're the only one willing to work this hard for 48
hours in a row, no breaks,
and go wild and get this done. And like I needed someone that cared as much as I did, because I hate being a part of a thing where I can tell that someone doesn't care to their full extent, isn't trying their hardest.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think you can try your hardest in a safe way. And
now it's being able to measure that in real time, and like Victoria, I think you two know Victoria.
Yeah.
Gare. So she helped me with another film, a much younger girl that was the lead on that, and it was like, how do I take this relatively first time actress and go like, I need you to go there. I need you to mentally be afraid and have that performance. And Victoria, you do it. Like, because it's like, I can't, what I want to say that I think evokes emotion that a woman could relate to, I might not be the safest delivery for that.
For those words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think that's really good to notice.
Yeah.
And
whatever I thought about saying, Victoria said way worse, but it,
it came from her.
It came from her, and she knew how to begin that message by saying, you're safe.
Yeah.
So first of all, XYZ, XYZ, and that was able to get her, and you could see it in the performance that she did go there, and she was able to break
that's
it.
Great. I think you're already better than Kubrick in that you
sense.
cared. You cared about the emotional safety of an actress on your set and tried to do what you could to make sure that was preserved.
There's even like stories of Spielberg emotionally
Better
manipulating children.
Yeah.
Like,
you can quote me on that. Put that on your
There we go.
last row. Better than Kubrick.
Pull quote right there.
But I mean, even
Better
on our
person.
set, better person. Oh, we'll see.
I'm early.
I mean, even just like just playing to your strengths too, though, because like on our sets, often Patrick has a lot more acting training than I do, and he often just has more of the words to like get people there. So Patrick is often the one for difficult scenes on our sets to like do the coaching for our actors for that. I think just because he's better at it, that's what we've fallen into in that regard.
That.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's some really, to go back to Kubrick, because that's what we were talking about.
2001.
In 2001. I think that there are some really cool things in the technique of filmmaking that he is playing with within his films, especially in 1968. Like that's 2001.
Yeah, once again, thinking about the time, like a lot of the visuals and the way they did those effects was very like
in 1968,
groundbreaking.
Sci-fi was a joke. Like there weren't serious sci-fi films. There weren't sci-fi films that were like speaking on metaphysics and these beautiful metaphors and all these different things. Like there was that, and then Planet of the Apes came out the same year, which is awesome, and we just did that on the podcast
films
as well.
With very
But like so, 68 really changed
heavy
sci-fi. I think that's game changing for sci-fi. But I think he does do some very interesting things in that film, and I think that the film is, if you give it your full attention, it's got some cool things within it, and it does tell a story, but it tells a story in a way that's not the typical way to tell a story, and I find it very interesting in form.
I wonder how much of Kubrick, I just like that I'm shitting on Kubrick right now. Yes, yeah.
I expected you were going to, because you said like 1 second of it in the other thing, and I've seen you post about Kubrick before. I was like, oh, he's going to talk to us about it, because we've just done 3 Kubrick
I actually
movies.
did not plan to, but when I saw 2001 and I saw
Dr. Strangelove,
I said, you know what, fuck it, we here.
And Spartacus.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Which people don't really think of him as the guy that did Spartacus, but I think that's also like kind of important, because that's like one of his big like blockbuster studio pictures, and then he didn't enjoy the experience, and then he went off to Europe and started making weird kind of self-financed indie films with Lolita, Dr. Strangelove, 2001 even.
Mm-hmm.
So Kubrick has gotten too much time. So you guys, so I got one for both of you to watch.
Okay.
It's dicey though.
Okay.
And I'm only saying this because of one that I just saw on your list that you guys recently saw. But what is it called? Birth of America.
Oh, Birth of a Nation?
Birth of a Nation. Birth of a Nation. The original.
So I watched the original in like a film class in college.
Okay, let's do this. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
Okay. Spoiler alert.
I have heard about it.
If you heard about
Like
it, everything you need to know is there.
That's kind of how I felt. I didn't feel I needed to give it my
And I don't know,
time.
does it that's an interesting question, is does D.W. Griffin and does Birth of a Nation need more time in our.
I really think it's a good film.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know it's crazy to say that as a black person, but I watched it. I think I watched it over COVID, or at least somewhere in that time in the early stages of it. Because, like, I hear about this all the time, but I've never seen it. I'm not big on silent film. Actually, I'm not. Actually, it taught me that I'm actually okay with silent films, like reading the captions or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest subtitle person. Like, it's a lot of, like, if you give me a foreign film right now and you tell me I'm reading the whole thing.
Yeah. So you're not into anime.
No.
Or do you just watch?
I mean,
I
watch it in English.
you watch it in
Like
English?
fucking Squid Games. I'm watching shit in English. You give me an English option, we watch
For
it. In
real, you watch it in English?
Yes.
I haven't watched Squid Game
the
yet at
worst.
all.
I mean-
but I can't imagine like live action stuff. There's no world where I'm watching.
I mean, I will
That platform-
say though that like a silent film is designed and meant to be read, and a
Yes.
foreign film is
It's
not.
not.
And-
You are missing. bits.
And now, with a lot of these foreign films, or like we're not getting a foreign film that was like they were constantly thinking about their American audience. It was like,
No.
this is the film we're making.
Yeah.
And so, like, Parasite,
I love.
I know Parasite is a good film because I
loved it.
watched it, but reading is like jogging for the eyes. It's like after a while, you kind of a little tired. And when you read, because I also feel like if I'm reading, I'm not watching. And as
Yeah.
a cinematographer, like, you built this world to be seen, and you're doing this is not giving you that full experience. So, Birth of a Nation taught me that I'm actually okay with this. But I was amazed at how, like, I was locked into this, what was happening in this movie, knowing that this is a racial thing. This is about the Klan and all this type of stuff.
It's
but
pro
wh-
Klan propaganda.
And it was good as fuck. Like, I mean, just as a story. And I think, too, if I was just like a regular person that just want to watch a movie or that's into, just want to be entertained, maybe I don't have the same position. But as like a filmmaker, I'm seeing like, damn, that was actually a good little scene for a silent film. And it's like, it's this section in the middle where they're looking for this slave, and it's riveting. Like,
Are you talking about, like, when
this
they
is
cross
good.
the ice like river bit, or is that what you're
I
talking?
think it crossed. So I
Because
can't
that's
even say
like
if it was
we
ice.
watched mostly like clips in class. I don't know if I've seen the whole thing in order.
So in the middle is a point where like this slave is hiding in the bushes and whatnot, and one of the Klansmen, they're just going around circling trying to find him, and this just is like, it's a chase. It's a big chase scene, and then this woman is found, like, she sees something. It's just a whole thing. No, I'm not going to remember it all. I just remember I was entertained throughout from not
Yeah.
to start to finish, but once I gave it its time, eventually I'm like, this shit is all right.
So I'll say two things on that. One is that, like, I wish I'd remember what he said, because the best like explanation of talking about D.W. Griffin was like, I was watching Kevin Wilmot in a talk back after seeing
Kevin
Black
Wilmot,
Klansman.
Yep.
Yeah.
writer
I
of
saw him.
Black
Yeah,
Klansman.
I saw him talk at Free State Film Fest, and he was talking about teaching D.W. Griffin in class and like how difficult that is to like wrap your head around, like whether or not you should talk about him, whether or not you need to place him in film history or not anymore. And I really wish I remember what his answer was, and it was really intelligent, really intellectual, and I wish I would.
Can you summarize it in worse words?
I don't think I
Oh.
can. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay.
But what I wanted to say second is that is the
But
thing.
he
that
does teach it in class still.
I don't remember if he does or not.
Oh,
I hope he does.
Um,
I'll ask him when he joins the Midnight Movie Club.
There
you
you
should.
go.
You should. That I think he'd speak on it way better than I could speak on it. But that's the thing that I've learned from First Timers Movie Club is that every movie we watch that's like Lolo showing me a movie that's an old one that's like long, I'm like, I think it's gonna be long. It's gonna be boring. I'm gonna get tired. But I've kind of noticed if you give yourself the time to watch a lot of these classic films, people
like put your
consider
phone
good,
away and like actually like
if you actually
get
give
in the
yourself
space.
the space and time to sit and watch a film, most of them are really fucking good. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times we just have all these distractions to take us away from
makes it harder.
actually giving a movie our attention.
I wonder, you were saying about director of Birth of the Nation, if he should still be a part of it. But I kind of feel that's, in ways you do as a creative person, as directors and filmmakers and artists. A lot of these people are terrible, or many of them have done terrible things. Woody Allen, we mentioned Roman Polanski, up to Bill Cosby. But at the end of the day, some of these people help form and shape.
Yeah, we're definitely getting to art versus artist.
And it's weird because, like, you do want to condemn them. You don't want to have to always preface that I don't support such and such. It's like I think people should understand. That's why I even enjoy making podcasts and doing long form podcasts because, if you gave me 3 minutes to try to like explain Bill Cosby, I couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't responsibly. But I think someone listening can understand context, and so I'm never like, I'm going to say something I'm going to apologize for. No, if you understood and listened to the context of what I just said, with Caitlin, we talked about sexual assault and LGBTQ issues.
Yeah.
Anyone can if you clip it out, you can take it whatever way you want to take it, and I can sound crazy as fuck. But if we understand in totality the context is trying to be made, I think that's how we should view a lot of these artists, regardless of what they did. Like, yes, personally, piece of shit. As an artist, brilliant.
Yeah, well, that's like we're kind of, even with Kubrick, we were discussing that, like, Lolo, because I was like, I think that he's a good director. And I was like, well, he's not a good director because he tormented his actors, but like the final
he made
product,
some
he
good
made
films.
some good films. So it is art versus artist, and it's about how you get to that art. And like,
arguably, Lester doesn't think he made good films. Even
yeah, true, true.
Arguably, yeah. Let's be consistent.
He made some films I like. Is all I can factually say.
And a half that I like as well.
Okay.
But Hitchcock is my number one.
Yeah,
and he has those stories.
Yeah,
but it's like terrible. Yeah, but it worked.
I think it's kind of an interesting thing.
Or did it?
Because like you come from art history background, like art, not filmmaking art. And I feel like in art history, that's been a thing that's been talked about for a lot longer than in cinema history of art versus artist.
True.
Because art history has, I guess,
a lot more time.
They've got centuries on filmmaking. And so they've had these centuries of time to be like, oh, well, I guess that guy wasn't great, but look at how his art changed art forever. And filmmaking is so recent that it's nearly still
current
1 to 2 generations away. Because filmmaking is only 120 years old approximately. So like you could be 3 generations away from the guy who made a film trying to reinvigorate the Ku Klux Klan. And that's where it becomes so personal, and it feels so personal because it was yesterday. You know what I mean? As opposed to like art history when you're like, oh, I can look at a Rembrandt. I can look at all these other things that are so many years ago. And then I can be like, oh, he was like, you can talk about past history a lot easier and be like, they were a terrible person and not have to preface it or like anything like that because it was so long ago. But like, this is nearly modern history. It's today. It's still happening.
I think sometimes too, though, I don't know. It is very recent, but also like the more important discussion than like, can we talk about Birth of a Nation and say it's a good film? Is because the guy who made that is dead. The more important conversation is making sure we aren't having current day, we aren't continuing to allow more people who are terrible people continue to participate in
making films that are pro
having positions of power and more currently we should be like, okay, let's make sure we don't have another Weinstein or Cosby allowed to work instead of just like being like, can I watch a Kubrick movie and not feel bad about Shelley Duvall?
Yeah.
That happened already. We can't change that. We can make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Okay, 15. I just got to check the time. So here's, because I think I want to go one level deeper. And you guys maybe can answer this.
Probably not, but I'll try. I don't have any answers.
Yeah, I've answered nothing today.
I've got rambly opinions, not answers.
I have thoughts. And I could be wrong about everything I've said so far.
Yeah.
I could be fully wrong, and I could learn something tomorrow that'll change my mind.
I also don't know if I agree with what I just said.
Yeah. That's the thing is that I like being that flexible, though, in my own opinion, in the sense that, like, I'm very willing to have someone come to me and be like, hey, you said some dumb shit, or you said some shit that like hurt my feelings, or you said some shit that like wasn't all like thought out, and you should rethink it. And I'll be like, oh, okay. Like it might hurt my feelings, and I might like emotionally lash in that
Have
moment.
a reaction.
But I would like to sit and think with that and be like, oh, I can evolve, I can change, I can become a better person.
I have often been wrong.
I'm
often admitted to
willing
being
be
wrong. But what's your question?
I don't think I've ever been wrong. But here's the question.
I believe that you think that.
And that'll be a fact. Are artists terrible people?
No.
Innately.
No.
I think you have to be a crazy person to.
Crazy's different than terrible.
This is to me ultimate, and maybe this is kind of that artist background is. I think this is a practice of God complex, like to a almost an extreme, because I think you either take it out on someone, or take it out on yourself. I don't think there's no healthy middle.
I think just because
I don't want to
there
believe that.
have been people who have been successful artists who have been terrible people does not mean you have to be or that everyone is.
I think that if you're like considering it like God complexy, I think that someone that's even further in that general world would be like anyone that thinks that they should be the president. You know what I mean? Because like that takes an ultimate God complex of like, you know, this shit's fucked up and I should run it. You know, like that's God complexy. But I'm just like, I want to make some fun jokes with my friends and hopefully bring a little bit more light and joy into the world. I don't know if that makes me a terrible person.
Yeah, but it's okay. Let's give people. So I want to end with these two questions for each of you. Something people should watch, and something that you think is not getting enough attention that you think people should watch. Movie, TV, whatever.
I mean, I have two that are both you should watch it and it's not getting enough attention. I don't but it's actually just getting a fuck ton of attention.
Actually, thing that they should watch, kind of current. I don't want to be like Indiana Jones. Let's not go crazy.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think Lester should watch Star Wars. I think two movies that like have come out recently that I thought were really enjoyable, and I think people are seeing them, which is great, but I think that they're still like within the indie space, are like Everything Everywhere All at Once and The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I think they're both definitely worth the watch.
They're both very fun.
Go watch. Have you seen either of them yet?
I want to see the Nick Cage one.
Okay.
Really
Everything Everywhere All the Time or whatever.
All at Once.
Yeah. I'm kind of on the fence. I feel like it's one of those things I've seen before, but I'll probably eventually watch it when it gets to TBS or TNT or something.
I think you'd enjoy it.
I think it's a movie that
It's hard when a thing gets so
it was
hyped.
It was definitely overhyped
also
to me by the time I saw it.
Finally.
Because it came out in like March and I didn't see it till June. And whenever I said I hadn't seen it, everyone around me went, "Oh my God, you're gonna love it."
It is the best movie ever made.
I
wouldn't say that, but it is really good and I think you'd like it.
But like it brought me to tears multiple times throughout the film. And I enjoyed that cathartic experience. And I wasn't expecting to have such a nice catharsis. And
that's what The Black Phone did to me.
Yeah.
But see, I think, and I was just saying this to someone else, the issue is when you're a person like myself who is like, I'm a lean towards horrors and thrillers and suspense films.
Yeah.
When people bring you a drama, it's like, I'll get to it.
And
then a lot of those movies, when they'll get nominated, and as much as I'm a Tarantino fan, I waited on Once Upon a Time. I waited on Ford versus Ferrari, the Imitation Game. A lot of these movies I waited, and I'm like, damn, I wish I would have watched it when they hyped it.
Everything Everywhere All at Once
is not a drama.
Isn't it like, go ahead.
It's a sci-fi action
film.
adventure film.
Indiana Jones, I've seen it.
No.
All right, you're right. Okay. You don't need to watch any action movie ever again because you've seen Indiana Jones. You're right. You're done. You've done it.
It's the one.
You're right. Okay.
And Temple Run.
So no more action movies for you.
Are you talking the second Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom?
I don't know. I'm just making shit up now.
Oh, okay. He said it so confidently.
Temple Run. What's that? I don't know.
Oh, that's that game. Never mind. You got it. Okay, your 2 films.
Whenever people ask me questions like this, my mind just, I'm like, have I ever seen a movie? I don't think so.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah. I'm like, what have I seen recently besides
I
what
stole,
Patrick
I
just
stole
said?
what you were going to say, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'll go first with TV.
Okay.
I'll think of something. I mean, because we make comedies and rom-com, sitcom-y stuff. Sitcom that I feel like no one else is watching is the one with the siblings. What is that sitcom?
Oh, Home Ec?
Home Ec.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Home Economics.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good sitcom.
That's just a cute, fun,
I also
modern
really
sitcom.
liked what was the one with the wine bar?
Oh, yeah.
The
Yeah, that one's good too. The one with the wine bar, Lester.
well, it's got
no, it is really good.
got-
That's a really good sitcom too.
Nicole
Brand new
Byers in it.
sitcom. Yeah. Shit.
Let me get my research team on it.
Grand Crew.
Grand
That's the
Crew.
answer. Grand Crew.
Grand
is definitely worth
Crew
a
is
watch.
another really fun sitcom.
I really enjoyed that. I thought
Mhm.
I feel like that's one that like I
No
know-
one is watching.
I saw one person that I know post on Facebook that he was like, I don't think anyone's watching this show, and then like nobody even commented, and I was like, I am, but
Yeah.
that's like. But Grand
Yeah,
Crew is worth a
Grand
watch.
Crew
I
is
hope
What's
there's
it
a
about?
second
Let
season.
people know, give them a little rundown. You can
It's
spoil it. I mean,
it's kind of just one of those like
It's
group of
very,
friends
like-
who get together and drink at this wine bar and have their own adventures.
I mean, yeah, it's your
very-
traditional sitcom. It's got the location they all hang out, which is the wine bar. It's 5 friends. They're all African American. Is African American the term that we use right now? What are we? BIPOC? Do you like BIPOC? Are you a BIPOC guy? Do you like black?
I'm an
What do you
N-word
want?
person. If you
Okay,
wanna, you can
that's what.
feel free.
No,
I'm not gonna let you have a recording of that.
Yeah, it's weedy. You can go African American. It'll keep you safe for everybody, I guess.
Okay.
I didn't know
okay.
BIPOC was a thing
Okay. Well, you should.
till like last week.
Oh.
Seriously, they stop coming up with shit. I'm black. That's it. That's all I'm gonna be. So POC, all this. Come on, son. What are we doing?
Okay. Well, so it's I think 5 African American friends that hang out in a wine bar and have cool rom-com-y, sitcom-y adventures.
Mhm.
And I just really like it because Nicole Byers amazing. The dude
she's
that's
great.
you probably haven't watched the like Arrowverse DC TV shows.
No, I'm no.
Yeah, you're not a comic book guy.
No, I'm a DC person, but I can't get all. I just can't watch all this shit.
Well, the guy that plays Mr. Terrific in that, he's in it and he's great. I'm like,
He's
I'm in
wonderful.
love with him. I love him so much.
It's just such a great cast that it's a really fun show.
yeah,
They're all great comedians.
yeah.
Well, before we go, okay. First of all, how you watch it? What, is it on Hulu, Netflix?
We watched it on Hulu.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Hulu, Netflix. We'll put like the name of the shows that they just named. We'll put in the comments. You go get that. It's timestamps all over this thing, so it make life a lot easier. So let's talk about what your film is about that you're screening right now that you
Yeah.
did in COVID for 2 years. Who's in it? How they can watch it? How they can find you? We're gonna wrap the show with that.
Yeah, it's called Almost Sort of Maybe. It's a sort of rom-com, sort of dramedy.
It's a twist on the rom-com, I would say.
About a young woman trying to decide whether to follow her dreams or not. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
the
scary.
IMDb log line's way better than we've ever said it out loud to a person.
Yeah, I really should just memorize that word for word because we wrote a really good log line. And then when people ask me, I don't say it. I just ramble.
I know that shit is hard as hell. I
Yeah.
hate writing lines.
Yeah, but so it's a woman turning almost 30, feeling the pressures of her sister's upcoming marriage and something about her overbearing mother and her job and
Well, it
deciding to
stars
follow
Lindsay
her dream.
Weaver, who is an incredible Kansas City actress.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
in it.
It's been doing the festival circuit, and
Right now-
hopefully we'll be on streaming when it's done with that. But it's not going to be done with that for a second yet.
Yeah,
We'll
right now
see.
we're waiting on a bunch of different festival things with that. But we've also made a bunch of short films you can go find on our YouTube page, youtube.com/IXFP.
Yep.
We also have some exclusive stuff like our old feature films, Intermission, Mr. Lee, and Zoink.
Yeah.
They're all on our Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/IXFilmProductions, you can find
Zoink is also still on Amazon Prime, I think.
Zoink. You can rent on Amazon Prime. It's a child sci-fi comedy
Thriller. Yeah.
that did the festival circuit a little bit ago.
Mhm.
And we've got another short coming out soon that'll
That
be
I'm
at
very
No Coast
excited.
Film Fest.
Oh, that too. Yeah, we have a new short at No Coast, and then a new short that'll just be on our YouTube soon that I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
So
No
That's stuff.
dates, no comedy. I know you're in a few things. You got a movie you made in film,
Right.
actual film.
Yeah, right now I'm acting in a lot. I don't have any comedy
Mhm.
dates coming up. I've been focusing a lot more on acting. I need to get back out to the stage, like get a little rust.
well,
Broken off,
there was
you
a
know?
pandemic that kind of
Yeah,
killed you doing stand up.
just
For
for
a
bit.
minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back out there though.
Mhm.
But yeah, the pandemic got me off stage for a minute, but I'm going back. You believe you me, I'll be there.
I never understood that term.
I-
Believe you me, back on stage.
Yeah, I don't either,
Mhm.
but I like to say it. It
I lo-
sounds nice when I say it.
I know. You can
feels
say
good.
anything. If you say it with confidence, you just roll through it.
Yeah,
People don't even notice.
believe you me. I agree with that.
Hot corn in the bucket, you know? So we'll get out of here. Lolo, Patrick Poe of IX Production, not 9.
No.
No.
IX.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining the club.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.